outside of a very normal interest in music, watching Soul Train on TV and going to your neighborhood store to buy a 45 a disc. I had lots of older brothers and sisters, and they were at the age where they were beginning to go out into party in the city of Detroit. And so my older brother would come back with these fantastic stories about how great the parties were and what these DJs were trying to do and to mix two records together. And at that time, I was moving into high school, and just the whole idea of street music. This was just before hip hop had really exploded. But the idea of this new type of genre of street music was beginning to blossom in America, and so that pulled a lot of young people in that direction. And that was when that was the time where you really begin to read into the album jackets and look and search out certain artists to find out what they were inspired by, and then you would go and chase down their influences, and then so I would say maybe 1978, 79 was really when the education really started, I suppose.
Bien, en aquella época, por supuesto, todavía no existía el techno, todavía tenía que inventarse, así que imagino que tus raíces estarán en otros tipos de música. Y sería interesante ver cómo se destila, cómo llegáis a destilar en Detroit esas primeras influencias que imagino, escuchando tu música, que tendrían mucho que ver con el funk y con el soul, y cómo se transforma en algo donde el ritmo tiene muchísima más fuerza.
Well, techno did exist. We just didn't call it techno at that time, because Kraftwerk had released numerous albums and bands like Ultravox, and there were many electronic bands, but we didn't categorize that as a specific genre. We just mixed that into this new form of progressive music. So and you kind of mixed, as a DJ or just a listener, you kind of listened to everything that was maybe the opposite of what people were listening to on the radio, or things that it had a certain hold to it, I suppose. And it was also the time was very the decline of the popularity of disco. So you still had a lot of up-tempo things that were coming from Oakland, California, which was still a very vibrant place for black disco. Lots of producers came from there, and there were still some people in New York that were still making things. And then that was also the rise of house music in Chicago as well, the very early releases from there. And so being in Detroit and being in the Midwest and surrounded by all these places in the country, you were just kind of bombarded with all these different genres. So you just took everything as what it was. It wasn't, you really didn't look at a record as it being a representation of a certain group of people or anything like that. You just digested as much as you could, and you looked and felt for this certain type of code in music.
¿Y en qué momento